with you, with you and the guest, and so, and I would say, even if I could say a third thing, adding to that previous question, that
Absolutely.
would be just being authentic. I love that space. I love being able to be authentic, and it's just an enjoyable space because I don't have to wear a mask anymore,
Hmm.
and it's just, yeah, I feel free. So
It's a good feeling, and I don't know about you, but the way I kind of grew up, you did need to wear a mask, and
yeah,
you didn't want people to know about any of your flaws. You
yeah,
didn't want to be judged by what went on behind closed doors or what maybe thoughts you even had that could
right.
be different than what the norm or the expectation was. And
Mhm.
I feel you when you say it's just so much. You don't have to like be putting this
Yes,
different persona, and you don't get caught in lies, you know?
absolutely, absolutely. And in all honesty, I was a bad liar. I was a bad liar. My mom would tell me, she's like, Curtis, you cannot lie, because my challenge is that I would, I would literally be sitting there for what felt like hours trying to put something together.
Mhm.
Seriously, and no sooner than I put it together and finalized it in my own head, okay, I'm going to tell her this, or I'm going to tell him this, or whatever. And I just felt even uncomfortable about saying it, you know. And then so consequently, my mom would say to me, "Look, Curtis, you cannot lie." And so, and and I had to come to terms with that. I said, you know what, she's right, So let me
After you
stop.
spent all that
Yeah,
time practicing.
yeah, let me stop doing that. So, yeah, that was a eye-opening moment for me, and I just had to come in agreement with that. It was just, and it feels better. It feels good. It feels good to take that burden off.
I love that. And I love that as a men's excellence and leadership coach, you were willing to share that you are working on your anger as well,
Absolutely.
because anger is not an evil thing unless you don't
Yeah.
know how to control it and how
Yeah.
to learn from it.
Mhm.
And so when we work on it, we're telling ourselves that we're taking control and that we are going to still experience those feelings,
Right.
but we're going to do it in a way that just doesn't overtake our entire body. And that's so
Absolutely.
powerful. So thank you for letting men know it's okay to admit that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yay. So the last question before you can just kind of start talking on your own is, and we do got some guests that want to talk to you, I believe, in the green room already. So we will see that, but no rush. Um, Travel. Like I know you just moved, so there's a lot going on there, but if you could travel anywhere in the world, whether you take that 2-year old baby or you go on your own, or if
Right.
it's for
Right.
business or pleasure or whatever, where would you go and why?
Hmm. Yes. I would probably say, hands down, I would probably say Africa. I've never been to Africa, and the reason why I say Africa, because I think that it's unfortunate, but we've allowed so many people to tell our story,
Mm,
and whether that's our own personal story, or uh, on a much broader basis, much larger scale, we've allowed so many people to tell our story, and to the point where I think that we started to believe it. And so I think with that, for me, it would be Africa. I've never been. I was a flight attendant in my former life, and so I've been a lot of places, but never been to Africa. So that I would say Africa, for just to see what they're not telling us. See what they're not saying.
I love that so
Yeah.
much. I hope you get there, and I cannot
Yeah.
wait to hear all about
Yeah.
it when
Yeah.
you get there.
Absolutely.
Oh, Curtis, I love learning about you through those questions. Now,
Yeah.
I know we are excited about listening to you talk about what you do and why you do it and how you can help other people and, how we can break some of that stigma about men and men can ask for services too. I would love to hear you just take the stage and let us hear about you.
Wow. Wow. Just kind of open ended, huh?
Hmm.
Hmm. I would say, if I could, I guess, pick a part or pick a space in this conversation, I would say is that um, there has been a lot of attention given to women, as and by and large, tons of attention, and I think Unfortunately, at the end of the day, um, there has been a disconnect in regards to creating space for men. I liken it to I liken it to uh, someone, or just say an individual who has been given the treatment, a just the royal treatment, so to speak. And in that royal treatment that they've been receiving, and everyone's just been waiting for them at their beck and call, and just what do you need? We need. I can take care of you. Do you need this? You need this. And the the princess, or the queen, she's just taking it in. She's enjoying this, and this is across all, I think, all backgrounds. She's just kind of taking it in, and at some point, when the perhaps servant, for lack of a better word, because I think that's what a lot of times for us as men, we become servants. And unfortunately, in that space, we become servants. And but again, have given all this royal treatment to our um, to the women, so to speak. I'll just put it out there, just giving this royal treatment to the women, and the servant notices something. Well, wait a minute, something is not quite right, because the servant is now experiencing certain things. And I say servant, I'm using men, just kind of that cross thing there. So the servant has used notices something, and the servant brings it to the princess' attention, the queen's attention, and the queen shoots it down as, oh, it's nothing. And the servant says, well, wait a minute, it is something. I need you to watch out for this. Blah 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 blah, and it's dismissed. And when it's dismissed, it's not only this, and I'm speaking now in a more general terms now. When it's dismissed, it's not just dismiss, oh, because I don't want to hear what he has to say. The individual is dismissed.
Mm.
And because the individual is dismissed, the same thing that the women have dealt with, the very same thing that the women have dealt with throughout history, being dismissed.
Mm.
And so now the laws are in place, or conversations are, oh, the princess, what does she need? What does she need? Is she taken care of? What does she need? What does she need? And when I share this information, it's not about me as a man saying, oh, women get everything. No, no, no. I'm very confident in who I am. But in order to understand the balance in life, the balance, two people cannot grow. You cannot walk in the same direction with one person dismissing the other, or the man dismissing the wife, the husband, or the wife dismissing the husband, or dismissing children, or I mean, just across the board, dismissive in conversation. Because oftentimes the very thing that we dismiss is the thing that we need to hear, the correction. And I would say that that is one of the biggest challenges, is that uh, and Jackie, I know you've heard this term before: hurt people,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like when we hurt people, abusive people abuse people.
Mm.
People who are abused, 9 times out of 10, will abuse other people. And the interesting thing about this thing, and I'm sure Jackie understands this as well, is that no sooner than a person, and primarily with women a lot of times, no sooner than a person gets out of an abusive relationship, The woman meets this super guy, and he may not be as outspoken as the guy previously, but the chances are, because this guy is not as outspoken as the previous guy, the woman then turns to be abusive to the guy who is not as outspoken.
I really appreciate your insight on that. And relationships are so
Yeah,
difficult
they are.
without a history of abuse,
Absolutely.
without any kind of. And if you are struggling, if you're listening to this and you have been in an abusive relationship, you're concerned about your safety, please know that it is okay to reach out for help. There are so many places in any community right now that wants to hear your voice. And it, you talked about the word dismissive, Curtis, and I keep coming back to thinking about how we dismiss ourselves when we let people hurt us or when we intentionally hurt other people. Because if we're hurting other people, there's something going on inside us that isn't fixed, that isn't healed, that isn't doing it for good intentions, so to speak.
Absolutely.
So I'd love to turn before we get to the other guests in the green room. I'd
Sure.
love to turn about like, how do you help men? How do
Mm.
you get
Right,
them
right,
to think about this
right, right.
and to look at being a leader for themselves?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great question. Well, for me, part of what I do is really, excuse me, helping men know know that they're worth it. And that means that really starts with a conversation and looking at their past is super super important because oftentimes actually my coaching practice is called "It's Not Rocket Science Coaching," and the reason why I bring that up is because I've learned through my experience that most of what we're dealing with, men, women, children, most of what we're dealing with or what we would later grow into is the result coming from the family structure. And because it comes from the family structure, again, even at a child, we will take that into our adult life. And so it's important for with my conversations and working with men that we go back to dealing with some of those dynamics, the power dynamics that went on or that didn't take place, because oftentimes that's where the man feels invisible. That's where the man feels invisible. And so, in working with men, I take them back to those places, and I think a lot of times, as for us as men, we're so conditioned just to go 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 go. Oh, I'll figure it out later, and in most cases, that figuring out later becomes later and later, and perhaps years later. And interesting enough, a lot of times it becomes the very thing that rocks the boat, that eventually tips the boat over, and that has the boat capsize, unfortunately. The very thing that we said that we'll talk about it later. And then talking about it later, again, we as men, we have to be prepared to deal with those feelings. What did it feel like? And we oftentimes as men, we don't like to talk about that, but that is for the most part the process that I take the men through, because I think on the other side of the pain is empowerment. The other
Mm.
side of uh, the abuse, you'll find a person who is confident. And oftentimes, to what you said moments ago, Jackie, um, when we are, uh, for lack of a better word, I'll just keep it simplified. When we're being mean to each other, in whatever capacity, whether you're on a call and the customer service rep doesn't seem like he or she's in the best of moods, or if you're the person that's not in the best of moods, it's coming from somewhere, and we need to be prepared to check those boxes and check ourselves, because uh, a lot of times people will feed off the energy that we give, and even if we are able to feed off their energy feed off their energy, because sometimes they may not be in the best of moods. But even if we are able to feed off their energy and recognize that they're not in the best of moods, we also have the ability to put a restraint, if you will, a a boundary, and say, no, I'm not going to give this person that energy. I'm not going to feed into that, because the moment you feed into it, you've got them now. They have you now on their territory, like a home court advantage in sports or something like that. Where now you're just operating in that low place now, unfortunately. So,
So, who is your ideal client?
hmm, great question. My ideal client would probably be that man who is anywhere from 35 to 55. He is uh, dealing with challenges of being authentic. He's dealing with challenges of being authentic and trying to find his footing, not necessarily in business, because in most cases, men that I've worked with, they're successful. They're successful. They've achieved great things, and they just can't get a grip on that authentic part. Again, showing up in the world is like most of us have, Jackie. He showed up in the world with the mask on, because I think from birth, that's what we were given. Here's your mask. Here's your mask. Here's your mask. That kind of thing. And so, yeah, that would be my ideal client, the man who is challenged with showing up in the world as his authentic self, because I think at the end of the day, there's an authentic person in all of us, to include men. And that once we get to that place of authenticity, you'll no longer be invisible.
I love that so much. And I'm going to add to that, when you are feeling your authentic self, you don't have
Mhm.
that mask on, you're not
Yeah.
just trying to act like you think people want you to. Things like anger, anxiety, sadness, it just lightens at least a little bit. I mean, I'm not trying to say it's going to go away if it's an actual mental illness, but what I am saying is that if you are trying to hide, if you're trying to be somebody that doesn't feel right to yourself,
Mhm.
your brain is working so much harder than other people's brains when they're like,
Yes.
yep, here I am. Mike just said in the private messages in the bag, he's like, oh, I'm too old for his services. He owned it. I mean, he owned it. I'm like, yes, that's authentic right there. It's not like, yes, I think I'm in that 35 age range you were talking about. Oh, I love that so much. So, guys, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to learn who you are authentically, because so many guys, as little kids, they were told to man up.
Right.
Don't act like a girl. Don't
Right.
do this. Do this. You got to act like this. You can't do this. Some were judged depending on what neighborhood they grew up in, what their family dynamics were, what maybe their name was, maybe the way they looked physically, and so many other things. And yet there were so many images given to men. There's different images given to women, and sometimes it's just nasty no matter what it is. And
Right.
those nastier, ickier things, they seem to sit longer in our brain. They hurt us more than those compliments that we usually love to hear, but they don't stick with us as much. We might hear somebody tell us we're too ugly, we're not smart enough, we're too fat one time in our life, and we remember that more than the 500 times people said you're so helpful, or you're
Right.
really nice, or thank you for being a good friend. So speaking of men, though, we've got one, two, three men in the
Okay.
backstage.
Cool.
Would you like to stay on stage and get to hang out with these guys?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely. Let's
we
do
are
it.
going to bring them up in order that they came. So Bill, you're coming up first, and then we got Gregory, and then we got Mike. And you guys don't have to go off stage. I just want to make sure each guy that's willing to come up has a little bit of time to talk. And if they have a pitch they want to do for their business, if they have a question for myself or Curtis, or if they have something they just could use some support on, this is what this all going to be about. My friend William, you can call me Bill. Here he comes.
There you go. Hey, everybody.
Hey, Bill.
Curtis, I didn't know that you're going to be on the show today. And I tune into Just Jacks, right? I don't necessarily know who the guest was going to be. I was so excited. I was like, Curtis, I thought about you today. I thought about you today. I was driving to the Publix parking lot, and I thought to myself, my friend Curtis told me that they have sold us a book of lies, and it's all about to be revealed.
Mm,
And there's hope. There's hope, and I really believe that once we actually understand the story we've been sold,
Mm.
I think we'll
mm,
all unite. I am so stoked
mm.
about the fact that we have this next 6 weeks with no money for us to come together with love, with unity. I don't need to buy you a present. I need to just show up and give you a big hug. And I think the word community is going to come back. But the reason why wanted to come up, besides saying that you're great and that I thought about you today, is to tell everyone a couple of things. His perfect client, I speak Kurdish, right? And he went through other things. You just said my perfect client is Bill. He's a mess. And he always needs help coaching. That's why he's always like, come on. And then the second thing is, I know you, Curtis. You got Africa from Wayne.
Okay.
Am I right?
I wouldn't say you're right. No, I wouldn't say. I
Oh,
wouldn't
you would have
necessarily
chose
agree.
it anyway because I've been talking to Wayne back and forth too because he's over
Yeah, no,
in.
I think it's always been it's always been a dream
I
of
want to
mine.
go too now
Yeah,
because I've been
yeah,
following him. Anyway, I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah.
Let's include everybody in the conversation.
I love it.
Um, sorry guys. Um, that's it. That's really what I want to say. I am so proud of you,
Oh,
and I support you in every way. And if you need anything, Curtis, you call me. We're friends.
I appreciate it, Bill.
You
Thank
know
you,
that,
sir.
right?
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
Just Jax, you are fantastic. I love you.
love you.
I owe you something too, Jackie. Um, I messed up, but we'll talk. Bye,
Yeah,
everybody.
we all mess.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bill. Come back
Thanks,
Thanks, Bill.
anytime.
Curtis.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you, Bill.
I love when people care about other people and want to support each other. And without him even knowing you were the guest today, he was here to support the show. And then, boom, he's like, yeah, I'm getting in that green room. I need that link. I need to say something to Curtis. I want to support him. And boom, there he was. I love that. So I'm going to bring up Gregory next. And I don't know if you and Gregory have talked before. I know Bill knows you well, but here is our friend Gregory. Gregory, do you know Curtis? Curtis, do you know Gregory?
No, I don't think I've met Gregory. Hey,
In
Gregory,
the
I don't think we
words,
met before though.
yeah, in the words of Top Gun, negative Ghost Rider. So yeah.
Well, Gregory has been a full guest on the show, and he's jumped up a
Okay.
few times when there's been open stage, and I appreciate his
Four
support.
times.
I think you are
Not
the
one,
winner
not
then.
two, not three, but 4 times. So
I was going to say who's counting, but you and I are counting, so I love that, Gregory.
yeah, and my background is in mourning because this is the first game of this team since the tragic suicide of our Dallas Cowboy player who was drafted in the second round, probably around 2 or 3, maybe 4 years ago. After our loss on Monday night, when he recovered a fumble in the end zone for a touchdown, and he
We're
died
not going to
by
go into
yeah,
his death,
yeah,
though,
yeah,
okay?
yeah. I know.
Okay.
Sorry.
That is,
So
it's just a
yeah,
trigger warning for some
true,
people.
true, true, true.
Yeah.
Sorry
No,
to
no,
bring it
don't be
up. So
sorry, Gregory. I
yeah.
actually, I do appreciate you bringing it up. Number one, because life does go on when there's a loss of anyone. And
Mm-hmm.
number two, mental wellness is important regardless of how rich you are, how famous you are, how stressed out you are, any of these things. And there's so much opportunity to support each other. And that's what I like about this show. And that's why I wanted you to be on here. So please don't say you're sorry. We just don't want to get into too much in case somebody is having one of those low
True,
nights and
true,
they
true,
might need
true.
support. So
Sorry.
make sure if you're in Canada or the US, you can dial 980 if you do need support for any kind of suicidal thoughts.
Yeah.
Gregory, what else is on your mind tonight? Any questions for Curtis or things you want to share?
Well, I put in the chat the stuff that you just said. That would be like 5 minutes ago. Is kind of like forced ableism to a is kind of like forced ableism, especially to a disabled type of a person. Because I just learned through reading a book called The Canary Code, and I'm going to hammer this until until there's no more payment to Hammer per se, but that is a mandatory reading for all HR professionals, especially if you're managing or supervising staff who is neurodivergent. That hi Kinga, nice to drop by and stuff. But it is a book that I just learned that, let's just say that I was bullied in not in one, not in two, but not in minimum of three different types of workplace environments. That was basically, I will say, mixed in with a whole whack of bad politics in terms of not being promoted in one business, as well as different other types of stuff, hours being cut, so forth and so forth and so forth. And it's been basically, I will say, a learning experience in regards to how my disability and and how I conduct myself as a neurodivergent vis-a-vis a AGM that I had on October the 1st, which I was insulted not once but twice in the meeting. And I will say that people like me, which is basically there will be more of me will be coming about because we are because Gen Z, which is anyone under the age of 30, 53% of Gen Zers are becoming are showing either neurodiverse traits or being diagnosed as neurodivergent. So that's why I will say that I'm hoping that in the year 2026 or 2027, in the words of the anti-words of Ronnie Dangerfield, we hope we get our respect, or in the words of LeBron James, we just want our damn respect, basically. So yeah. So
So
yeah.
I appreciate you coming on stage, my friend. And um, I it hurts my soul about the bullying. I actually just wrote a post, I believe it was yesterday, about bullying and gaslighting and bystanders and gossiping. And it doesn't stop in grade school, it doesn't stop in middle school, it doesn't stop at certain levels. And when we are talking about professional capacities and it comes into that professional space, it comes into our personal world as adults, it even hits a little different. And the fact that you're willing to share about that, Gregory, I appreciate it. I know you find a lot of support on LinkedIn, and I can't thank you enough for being, again, the word Curtis was using about that, authentic. You know, your experiences are unique, but yet so many people are learning from you being willing to share it. So I want to thank
Because
you for coming
yeah,
to stage.
yeah, because I will say this: authenticity. If you're not authentic on this platform, it eats you up for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and a dessert entree, basically. And I find that in my local area here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, which we just celebrated a Grey Cup week, I will say there's not a lot of people who are have that high ethical quotient and stuff. And I will say that if I was if hopefully in the near future to start my show, and if if local peoples want to talk about HR issues on my show who are local, I might have to do the anti Jackie says you're not authentic for me to be on my show. You cannot be on my show because I don't feel that you're ethic and have a high integrity, because on this platform it could see right through you, we'll say the like a weak NCAA college defense, basically. So yeah.
I appreciate you, Gregory. Thank you for coming on stage. Jump back in the comments if anybody, I think a couple people have
Yeah,
responded
I
to
will
bullying
drop.
conducts.
Plus, I will drop the link of the post that I've written last week on that corresponding
Yeah.
chapter, which is has been dropped as of now, to read about it and stuff, because it's basically, I will say, a formation of lateral violence, and I got that from Felipe's show, not on the Workplace Wellness Hour with his guest, and a mentor basically said that you have experienced major lateral violence in your career and you should not be exposed to that kind of behavior per se. So, yeah.
Thank you, Gregory. I appreciate you. Bye.
See ya.
So,
Well, I'm glad you got to meet Gregory. That's awesome. So I never know who knows each other already on
right,
LinkedIn because
right.
there's so many people, aren't there,
Absolutely,
Curtis? And
absolutely.
thank you for giving them the stage. We've got one more guest in the green room, and this is a pretty special person because he does my music. He does so much music for so many people. He has an artistic talent that just not anybody can come up with. So I know you know him. He's been putting some great comments in there. Are you ready for Mike to join us on stage?
I am.
All right. Come on, Mike. Hello.
I think you
You,
made it, Mike. Yep, yep.
Where else would I be on a Monday night when Curtis is on your show?
I know, right? I know.
I,
I love it. I love it.
I, I put in the private comments. I really consider Curtis a brother from another mother because we seem to just really resonate and vibe. Like when he's coming out with something or when he's having a show, I'm like, man, preach it because and there's some other folks, Bill and another small group of men that I think it's really important that men, number one, lift each other up.
Sure.
That I don't know why it to me it's so important, but I think that we've in business we're in competition and all that, and I think we've lost that kind of connection of just being supportive of each other. And I mean it's and if you've already reached the heights like Curtis was talking about, what do you have to lose?
Hmm.
I mean, and mentoring. I'm a very active mentor in various areas. How else do we expect our young men to have good models, because if they don't, then they're going to be clients of yours, Jackie. And I'm not being funny.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, that's what happens.
Right.
If you don't have good models in the home, then they're going to go outside and get involved in things that they don't need to get involved in. So
Mm.
I just feel really strongly about that. What else did I want to bring up? Oh, I had written a couple articles recently on self love, self care, self healing because and this is going to be a little bit paradoxical, but if we're not healed and bring like Curtis was talking about being dismissed, if we're not comfortable in ourselves, if we don't have a strong sense of self identity, um, we're not going to be able to show up for the women in our lives
Mm.
or
Right.
anyone in our lives.
Mhm.
So I think it's just so key that if it's past healing we need to do, that we work on that. And I was just so happy to hear, that I think we also have to admit, I think we have to model humility to everybody, but particularly young men, and just be authentic and admit our mistakes, because wearing a mask is not, it's not healthy, it's not good. If you're lying, you have to remember who you told what lie to who,
Right.
which can cause all manner of issues. uh, so I am blessed to listen to Curtis. I actually posted that I think in a pre-show comment, but I just enjoy hearing Curtis. So that's why I'm here. There is a hidden message in my title. Um, I will leave that to to you to figure out. But
I
that will
wondered
be
what the squirrel was.
yes. That will be coming up. I'm about ready to launch. I already made that my Suno profile name. Unfortunately, I messed up on YouTube, so I have to wait 14 days to change the name. But yeah, you are so welcome, and you embarrass me every time. You make me blush when you bring it up. But
Love it.
Curtis, awesome to see you again, brother.
Likewise, sir.
Jackie,
Likewise.
love to
Likewise.
be here as always. Take care.
All right.
Thank
Thank you,
you. I
Michael.
appreciate
Thank,
you.
thank you, Mike.
Oh, I love that. And I loved how Mike talked about role models. And I think, if we step back, Curtis, we can probably jump with one or two role models that just come to our mind right
Right,
away.
right, right.
And I think about the humans that don't have those people,
Mm,
or they don't understand that the people they maybe were looking up to aren't the qualities that feel right in their heart now. And I think there's kind of like a push and a pull, like, is this what a man really is supposed to look like? Because I don't want to
right,
do that, or I don't feel like doing that. And then when those hormones kick in, and when those expectations of family life, school life, maybe the street
mhm,
life pull in, it really changes. And I used to do elementary counseling. I don't know if you knew that or not. And I got to see these kids in first and second and third grade end up turning into fourth and fifth graders.
right, right.
And the change, if they
Yeah.
don't have a powerful, safe support network, role model,
Mhm,
strong male. There, we had a couple men in
mhm,
adult positions around the school, but there really wasn't.
mhm.
And it's tough. It's tough to say as a woman, okay, don't follow that guy. This is what a real man does, because what is a real man,
Right,
type of
right,
a
right,
thing. And
right,
so
right.
I love him talking mentoring. I love that you talk about authenticity and not having that mask, and really learning from how to break those things that we heard as younger people, and how do
Right.
we grow into that authentic self. So
Mhm.
Curtis, any last thoughts that you want to leave the show with? Anything that's been
Yeah,
heavy on your heart or exciting in your mind that you wanted
yeah.
to share?
I got a couple of things I'd like to share. One, I think it's important. The word integrity is a huge word. It's not such a big word, or it doesn't even, maybe on the outer surface, doesn't appear to be too complex, but it in fact is. It's a small word, but with big emphasis, if you will. There's a lot going on in it, So it's kind of like saying yes to something, and outwardly it's say, okay, this is great. But as time goes on, perhaps even in a relationship, as time goes on, you don't really know what you've said yes to. You don't, all the angles and the turns, the twists and turns that come with just life revealing itself, just things unfolding. And I would say, again, going back to this word integrity, it's important to understand that the very words that we speak, words themselves are integrity. They are integral. And what happens is that, we can find ourselves looking outside for this change, this hope, um, the healing, and all the different things that take place, or the result of wearing that mask. And we've all been there. Every last one of us have been there, and I can definitively say that everyone has been there, or perhaps in that situation right now. But any event, we have to understand that somewhere along the way, uh, there's been a communication that has been severed, and I say that uh, in the sense, or the term of that, whether you believe in God or not, the reality of it is that there's a greater force. There's a greater, some call it energy, some call it universe, whatever. There's greater than ourselves. And along the way, the communication has been severed. And because the communication has been severed, we all have been left with something that perhaps, oh, this will work, this will do. I can do this. I can do this. I can maybe do this and do that. And all of these different things are an expression for every last one of us. They're an expression But nevertheless, with all the expression that takes place in all of us, inwardly and outwardly, um, we can find ourselves looking at it from a perspective and saying that I'm not satisfied. Something is not satisfying me. And I'm still hungry for something. I'm still desiring change. I'm still, to Jackie's point, I'm stuck in this trend, this cycle. And how do I get out of that cycle?
So I'm going to say one way to get out of that cycle is to book some time with Curtis. He is
Absolutely.
a coach.
Yeah, absolutely. Or
Yeah.
book some time with Jackie.
Well,
For
that's
sure.
true.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I just want to say this thing here, because what happens is that the the very words that we speak are integrity. They are integral. But we have severed the communication, and we've been given something else less than integral. And so if you sometimes sitting in that space of what seems obscure, what seems empty, what seems like, why am I in this space again? And you're having to deal with yourself. Oftentimes we're challenged with sitting in that space. But I can say with all, every fiber of my body, that if you sit still in that uncomfortable space, you'll be perhaps trying to fight your way out of it because it feels uncomfortable. But if you sit still in that space that's uncomfortable, you'll learn about yourself. You'll understand that the very words that we speak in life are like seeds. And many of us, myself included, have left or been distracted with so many other different things to the point where the fruit doesn't mature. Because the very words that we speak, I believe, they govern our lives. They govern our lives just like God governs the world. And when we plant seeds through experience, uh, some kind of horrific situation, trauma that's caused trauma or something like that, or loss of life, or just, again, some kind of situation we may be dealing with. And interesting enough, a lot of times just the pressure from that, dealing with those things, it causes us to speak things. It brings us to a place where we speak things. And rest assured, the very words that we speak, they often, again, when left unattended, because if words are like seeds, rest assured there's going to be good seed sown and there's going to be bad seed sown. And we know, and most of us know, with the bad seed has a lot of times it
I
just,
need to wrap you up,
oh,
Curtis,
okay,
because
I'm sorry.
you should be preaching right now. I mean, you should be charging for this information. We are going to go like for 72 hours if you keep rolling. So you need to turn this into your own show. You need to
Okay.
have people book you for this, because here we were rolling and I'm like, do you know what time it is, Curtis? You got a 2-year-old and I got to turn off the show because people are going to be like, when did she go over an hour? So he's talking seeds. He's talking the good and bad. Guys, you want to connect with Curtis. You want to,
Absolutely.
don't cut him off like I
Oh,
just did.
really quick, real quickly, let me say this last thing here, and again, I apologize for that. I do have an event. I want to make sure that I mention that, but I do have an event that's taking place December 9th at 6 p.m. I've been posting it somewhat frequently, but I'll do better with posting it. But it's called, let me get the name for you. It's called Uncovering the Core, Your Path from Success to Significance.
Very nice.
So you can go to the website. It's going to be, it's kind of long. I apologize, but it's going to be webinars dot it's not rocket science coaching.com. Again, webinars dot It's not coach. It's not rocketsciencecoaching.com. So sign up for that event. It is only an hour, December the 9th at 6 p.m.
Nice. Go ahead and put that link in the event so we can make sure to click on it
Okay,
super easy,
will
or
do.
invite some of the people you saw here. Curtis, thank you. I
Absolutely.
appreciate you
Thank you
so
for
much.
having me.
I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Okay. All right. Ciao, ciao.
Bye. Oh, I don't like cutting people off because he was doing so good. I really could have just listened and listened and listened. And I do want to remind people that these are nuggets, people that are willing to come on this stage, people that are in the comments supporting people. These are the people that you want to connect with because they're given nuggets on this show. They can do so much more when you connect with them one-on-one. You follow their pages, you show up to their events like Curtis is on December 9th. Those are the things you want to do. And I've met so many great people through these platforms and through this show that other people have told to come and this person's told to come. So if you're willing to go ahead and follow my YouTube channel, connect with me on LinkedIn. If you want to follow, that's fine. But if you connect with me, I really love real people's messages and not pitch messages because that's really tough for me. Figure out when you want to get on stage yourself. When do you want to be a Just Jackson guest? Guys, I got lots of openings and I want to get you highlighted because you deserve it. Now, I want to give, kind of that shout out one more time to my dear friend Mike. And he was on stage just a minute ago. That's the same Mike, guys. Thank you, Mike, for my intro and outro. Guys, this is brand new. This is the first time I've played this outro on Just Jacks. He revised it. So are you ready? I'm going to listen with you for a few minutes and then I will see you next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you, guys.
Let's go. Hosting Just Jacks, we lift every voice. Re-entry with dignity, give people a choice. Restorative justice, repair what was torn. Conflict resolution, new trust can be born. Family unification, bring loved ones back. Hosting Just Jacks, we stay on that track. Every story matters, every heart has worth. Together we're building a bridge to rebirth. From broken to whole, from lost to found. Hosting Just Jacks, we stand on solid ground. Communities healing, one connection at a time.